Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing what is, in my opinion, the best boss farming build in the game. So it is a black flash build. It focuses on building up these bars, so you can just keep pumping out black flashes, and they do a lot of damage. So starting off with stats, focus tree is the most important build. I do recommend maxing this all the way out. So if you want to sacrifice some damage, you can take lock-in and vampiric black flash over the sparks of black. And I don't recommend taking the focus tokens. The reason I wouldn't take the focus tokens is because you're going to be using the black flashes anytime you get them. So 3 bars is definitely more than enough. So I only took the health awakening for parries. I don't really see the use of this tree unless you're getting hit a lot. And I could see that happening in like Sukuna boss fights. But other than that, I would not upgrade this tree at all. And now moving on to technique, I maxed pretty much all of the middle tree. I would get a hollow wicker basket, but I maxed most of my strength out instead. And I don't have a domain, so I did not upgrade Barrier Mastery. But if you do have a full domain, I would definitely replace Sparks of Black with Barrier Mastery. Now, moving on to Strength, this is a great stat to have, and I do recommend maxing out the Strength increases all the way. But I didn't because I did take Total Concentration all the way to 15 seconds, but you could do it for 10 seconds and max out the Strength bar. Now, moving on to Innates, I do recommend really heavy hitter moves like Star Ridge's Jupiter and its Terra, or Infinity's Purple. If you don't have Infinity, I would definitely recommend Hain Awakening or Ratio, but Star Ridge is definitely, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of this build because it just builds up focus really quick. But if you do have the innate slots 3 or 4, I definitely recommend using the Hain Awakenings move called Switch. It's really good. It buffs your attack and defense by 25%. So again, if you don't have one of these techniques, or if you have the innate slots, I definitely recommend some Hain Awakening moves or Ratio moves. Okay, and now moving on to the equipment, you don't really want to be looking at the stats over what the effects are. So for example, this gives me 60 health and I don't really want health, but the effect is called Boss Hunter and I get 35% extra damage against boss mobs. So I'm going to be showing the rest of the equipment in the sandbox because I myself have not been able to farm out all the special grade equipment that I need to make this build even better. So starting off with the Eyes of Willpower, the effect is called True Sight and I'll be gaining focus at 1.25 times the rate. So that means for all the damage I do, I will be getting my focus bars up faster. So for the outerwear, there's really none that are good for this Black Flash build, so I just use the Cloak of Inferno. And it applies a burning status effect to all mobs around me, and it gives pretty good stats, so this is what I use. And now for the Demonic Robe, you deal 35% extra damage against boss mobs, and your Black Flashes deal 20% extra damage against mobs. So a lot of people don't know this, but you see how the Demonic Robe has an effect where your Black Flashes deal 20% extra damage against mobs? The Blessed Scarf has the same effect, but if you wear them both, they will not stack on top of each other. So you're losing out on the effect that the Eyes of Willpower can be giving you if you have the Blessed Scarf on and that Demonic Robe. So do not use these two at the same time. And for the pants, I couldn't really find any good pants for this build either. So I just put on these special grade sorcerer pants where I deal 25% extra damage to all curses. The 42 technique that it gives is really good with Star Rage because the more damage I do with Star Rage, the more focus I'll get. But you could switch these out for a pair that gives more strength if you want. And now for the ring, it gives a good stat buff. The effect is kind of useless, but if you don't have the Rotten ring, you could use the Molten ring instead. It just gives less stats than the Rotten. So none of the energy natures really matter for the build except Rough, because when you heavy someone, it causes a bleed effect. And as you know, Black Flashes are just chanceable heavies. And for the Awakening Black Flash arms, you get an extra 8% Black Flash damage, which is really good for the build. So just to clarify, this build still is incomplete. Like, I don't have the Hain Awakening move where I buff my damage, and I don't have the Right Awakening, and I don't have all the equipment needed yet. But this is just a showcase on how it does, even without all that. So getting on with it, this is without Rage Gourd or any buffs. When Finger Bear jumps up, I like to just use Hollow Purple to bypass this like AoE effect that he does, and right after, it just shoots the Hollow Purple at him, so I can get the most amount of damage. And the goal is to build up like at least 2 bars that I can just burst him down with. See, I'm not going to use the Black Flash right away because he jumps up in the air. So I'm just going to keep trying to dodge this, and then when he comes down, we just one-shot him. And now when he comes down, you just want to burst him with all you have. And after this Black Flash, you can see how much damage the Black Flash does. You can clear bosses really quick with this move, and I just messed up, but... See, it's quick, and my build is still, like, really incomplete. So once I optimize this better, I will do a better showcase for you guys, but for now, this is just how it works. So this is the main build that I'm going for. I've always really been a big fan of the Black Flashes from the actual show. So seeing it in game was pretty cool, and the fact that the build's also really good makes me pretty happy. So are you guys going to try this build out, or are you guys going to try some other builds? I'm pretty curious on what other builds I could do with all the innates in the game. But anyways, I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you guys learned something new.